Lesson 56, the slope-intercept equation of a line. Here you can see slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, with m being the slope and b being the y-intercept. So let's take a closer look at that. When we go through lines and we try to find the slope, what we're referring to is the rise over the run. The rise meaning how many do you go up or down, and then the run, how many you go across left to right. And with our slope, you can have a positive slope or you can have a negative slope. If you look at this picture here with Mr. Slope Guy, you can see that when you have a line that goes up from left to right, you got a positive slope. And when the line goes down from left to right, you have a negative slope. If you have a vertical line, then it's undefined. And then if you have a horizontal line, the slope is 0. You can always refer back to the Mr. Slope Guy to help you determine what kind of slope you have. Now getting back to the slope-intercept form, that is the easiest way to graph a line because you just need one point and the slope. The one point that you need is the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. So in this diagram here, the y-intercept is right here, x being -1. So then you use that point and then the slope to determine what our next point is going to be. So you're always going to do rise over run. So if your slope, in this case, the slope is half. It's a positive half. So they went up 1 over 2. And you can keep going up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. Or you could go down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2, and so on. And then you can draw your line for your graph. The slope-intercept form, again, y equals mx, which m being your slope, plus your b, which your b is your y-intercept. So let's take a look at some examples. It says, which of the following is written in slope-intercept form? And again, we want it to be in y equals mx plus b. And remember, this plus can be a minus sign as well. If we look at, we know it cannot be a because that's it has x equals, so it can't be a. Can't be b because it has y plus, so that's not in slope-intercept forms. So the correct answer would be C, y equals mx plus b. Next one, use y equals -1/3 x plus 2 to answer the following questions. What is the slope? The slope is everything, the coefficient in front of the x, which would be a -1/3. What is the y-intercept? That's everything after the x, so that's a plus 2, so a positive 2. Next one, use the equation y equals 2/3 x minus 4 to answer these questions. Where does the graph of the equation cross the y-axis? Now this is going to be our plus b, so that's this number, so at -4. And does the line rise to the right or fall to the right? We need to look at our slope. Our slope is positive. Positive lines go up from left to right. But does the line rise to the right or fall to the right? It would rise to the right. Just taking a close look at these details can help you determine what your line is going to look like for your graph. Next example. Here it says write the equations of lines A and B in slope-intercept form. And at what point do the lines A and B intersect? So let's find the equation of a line. And so we're doing y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to put my y, I'm going to put my x here. So I look at line A. Line A, I just need to identify my y-intercept. My y-intercept is right here, crosses at -2. So I'm going to put a -2 here because it crosses the y-intercept there. And to find my slope, I just need one other point. I'm going to choose that point. And I go up 2 over 1. So up 2 over 1 is just 2 over 1, or 2 divided by 1, which is 2. My line is going up from left to right, so it's a +2. Line B, find my y-intercept. My y-intercept is right here, which is a +1. So I'm going to put that in there. And then I need another point. I'm going to choose this point here. So how do I go from this point to this point? I go up 1 over 2. So up 1 over 2. It's going up from left to right, so it's a +1/2. Now I want to see where they intersect, which means where do they cross? They cross at this point right here. So this is a 2. This is a 2, so it goes up 2 over 2, so this is a 2, 2. So that would be the coordinates of where those two lines cross. Next example, write the equations of lines C, D, and E, and F in slope-intercept form. So y equals, for C, I need to pick 2 points, and the points that you choose, I would choose the one that crosses the y-intercept, so this one here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a +5. To find my slope, I need to pick another point. I'm going to pick this point here. It's easy if you put it at one of these corners on the grid, because you know what those coordinates are. So I went up 1 over 1, so that's a +1. So you can either keep it as x plus 5 or 1x plus 5. Line D, so I'll put my y equals and my x here. So line D is this horizontal line, crosses the y-axis, or the y-axis at 1, 2, 3. There is no slope because the rise is 0, the run is infinite. So there's no x term, so it's just y equals 3. When you have horizontal lines, it's just going to be a y equals whatever number it crosses. Our next one, line E, y equals, so I go to line E, crosses here at +1. Need my x, so my slope, I'm going to pick another point. I'm going to pick this point here. So I went down 1 over 2. So rise is 1 over 2 is 2. So I have a half, but my line is going down from left to right, so it's a -1/2. And line F, y equals, line F, it crosses right here, which is 1, 2, 3, -3. I need to pick another point. I'm going to pick this point right here. So I go down 1, 2, 3. So my rise or going down is 3. My run is 1, 2. And my line's going down, so it's a -3/2. My slope, or my equation is y equals -3/2 x minus 3. Now that we've looked at how to write the equation, now we're going to look at graphing from slope-intercept form. So here I have a couple equations here. We're going to graph them on this coordinate plane. So I have y equals 2x minus 3. First part is my y-intercept, which is -3, so I'm going to put a point there. I use my slope, 2x, +2, so up 2 over 1, and I'm going to be making sure my line goes up from left to right. So if I go up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, you can draw as many points as you want. The more you do, the easier it is to draw your line, but you do have to have a minimum of 2 points. So I have enough that I can draw my line. So there's the line for my graph there. The next one, put up my first point at positive 2. I have a negative slope, so going down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. So you can see my line there forming. Just draw my line. There's my graph for that equation. And one final slide to go through. Graph these. So we have 3 of these here. So y equals x minus 2. My first point at negative 2. I have a positive slope of 1. So up 1 over 1. Up 1 over 1. Up 1 over 1. Or you could go down 1 to the left 1. Down 1 to the left 1. There's my line. Just going to draw my line here. Second one, y equals negative 2x plus 4. So I put my first point at positive 4. I have a negative slope of 2. So down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. So I have my line here. And draw it to connect my points. And the last one, my first point at negative 2. I have a positive slope, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, or I could go down 1 to the left 2, down 1 to the left 2. So you can see my points here. So there's my graph. So that is our lesson today on the slope-intercept equation of a line.